Hello, in this recording we will see how we can use the GrooviXBox with GrooviX Beat software along with the Nexus 5 VST from Refx and make some beats. So to do that, we will first switch to track 1. This is an empty project that I've just loaded. So we're going to go to track 1. We'll select the VST instrument, and in the VST instrument we can see all the instruments that are currently installed. So we can select the Nexus over here and we can say save. Once we have done that, so the Nexus is saved. We can also go to options, change audio settings. Here we can actually see all the MIDI devices that are currently available. So Teensy MIDI is the GrooviXBox. So we have also selected that. So we'll get MIDI from that. Once this happens, we can always open it up. And this is the VST UI. So let me just reduce the size so that it looks better. Okay, so there we go. So this is how we have set it up. So currently, if you look at it, I can go back to our beat, and here I'm going to click on this button. This will basically connect the MIDI from an external device into the VST. So currently in this track we have Nexus VST. So as soon as I click this, now these two are connected. Now let me just pull up the VST UI here. So the VST is over here. You can see the VST. Now when I press, let me just reduce this. Now when I press the key on the device, you can see that the events are being routed. So what we're going to do in Refx VST is, to get the right things working, we're going to first select a factory preset. So we will go with a sequence. The sequence that's nice is Eternity. We will load this. So we have loaded that. Once we've loaded that, we can actually start sending the MIDI keys. So let me just make it a little bigger so that you can see what exactly I'm doing. Once I've done that, so I'm going to go to the layers. As you can see, there are various layers over here. We can actually map individual layers to different knobs in the MIDI controller. So we have configured it so that the first row actually matches the macro. So if I move, you can see the macro changing. Here I'm going to move this. You can see the second macro changing. This is the third macro, and this is the fourth macro. As you can see, we can change the macro. So this way we actually can change the 4 values. Now that we want a little more control, because we can only control at a high level, for that we're going to go into the modulation matrix. Here we're going to actually start adding. Here if you see, there are already 3 macros set up, M1, M2, M3, M4, M4 set up already. So we're going to actually do a little more. So we're going to say that we're going to have C16, CC16 map to the next one. So we're going to put it all the way to the up. As you can see, we have layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, layer 7, and layer 9, 10, 11 already set up. So now let's start with this. So kick is not currently being controlled with the macro. So now let's go to kick. Let's go to layers, kick, and we can adjust volume. So we're going to have CC16 to this. So now when I actually turn this knob, you can see that we're going to be able to control the kick over here. Similarly, let me select the next one. I'm going to say CC17, and I'm going to push it all the way through. And then I'm going to, since we already have layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4 hi-hats already mapped to macro, let's map a different one here. Let's look at bass. Okay, let's map L5. L5 is not being managed, so let's go over here and match. So that way, now when I move the second, this one, we're going to be able to control the bass on this. So now let's go to C17. Let's go to layer 6 is already mapped. No, layer 6 is not mapped. So let's go to layer 6. The pluck is layer 7 pluck is there in the macro. Layer 6 is not there. So layer 6 macro, we're going to set it up to 18. So let's make sure that also works. Okay, that also works. Now 8 bass is not there. So let's select 8 bass. 8. L8 bass volume. Okay, now this is the bass for us. Super. So now we have everything set up. Actually what we can do is, to keep it easy, we can probably move the bass over here. So L8 bass, so that we know these two are basses. Pluck volume. So that way we have kick, bass, and pluck. So in the second row we have kick, bass, and pluck. Okay, let's have that also. We'll check that. This is okay. This is 21. Let's go to the library, and now we're going to start hitting other keys and see how it works. all the way down, bring this all the way down. So we start with kicks. We keep everything low. So actually we can either you can use hold here, or we can set up the MIDI controller to hold the key. So what we can do is, for the time being, we're going to just click this, put it on hold. So that way when we send a MIDI note, it's going to actually hold that note. So now as you can see, we have the kick, and this was the kick macro we actually had. Let's release it just a moment. Now that we have everything set up, we're going to make everything 0. So that we'll start from scratch. So that way we'll make all the values 0. Just to check the mod wheel, we have everything set up properly here. So now let's go back to the library. What we can do is we can click on hold. So that way when we send a note, it's going to send just one note. This is basically the C note. So we're going to increase the kick first. Now let's move the snare. Now let's go with the hi-hat. So there you see how we can actually use the GrooviXBox with GrooviXBeat to essentially do a live set. Thank you.